Good morning, everyone. Can we see my Instagram carousels Wizzy screen?
We can.
Yes.
Excellent. So, it's a shame there's not more people on this because Instagram carousels are actually really good for boosting your Instagram engagement at the moment. So, I'm finding it's the most popular type of post that I do at the moment, with engagement generally being down. So let's look at what we're going to cover today. So we'll start with what is a carousel post so that we understand what it is, how to actually literally create one, why you should be using them in your Instagram strategy. I've sort of hinted at that already. We're going to do a lot of examples on how you can use them so different businesses can see how they can perhaps bring them into their content creation strategy, what to include to make your carousel post a success, and some tools. And I've even got a freebie template that you can have to get you started. So first of all, what is a carousel post? Well, this is what it looks like on Instagram. Basically, it looks exactly like a regular Instagram post in the newsfeed, but you can easily identify if it's a carousel post by the kind of icon of two squares in the top right corner when you look at it on the feed. And also underneath, you'll see a set of little circles, and one is like a blue color, and that shows you where you are. And it's like kind of like a slideshow, if you like. But you can actually add up to either 10 images or videos. So you can add a combination of images and videos up to 10 if you wanted to. All the slides, when you're adding them, have to be the same size. So if you are going to add a combination of images and video, you have to make sure that they're the same format, so that if you're adding 3 square images and then a video, the video has to be a square as well. But you can actually post in any of the Instagram formats, which kind of I haven't really thought about doing and haven't actually tried experimenting with yet. But you could do a carousel in those portraits, bigger, taking up more of the feed. Or if you're struggling to convert your video from landscape to square or portrait, then you can make all your images landscape so that they'll also work on the carousel as well. So how do you create one? Well, here's a quick little video, and I can slow it down. So let's just slow it down a bit and go back. So when you go to post, at the very top plus button on Instagram, you then get some options now. So now you get plus, and it will be post just like normal. But the difference is when you select the first image, so we've got one square image here, can you see underneath that image, you've got your camera button, you've got recents, but you've also got 2 little squares. You see those 2 little squares underneath on the black bar? And if you hit that button, then you're able to select more. So it's now highlighted in blue, and you get number 1, and then you can go in and you can choose all the different images on your phone that you want to. Now you've got to make sure that you choose them in order, because once you post, you can't change the order. So it's best to check that they're in the right order, scroll through them before you go to the next stage. And here you can still choose your filters and do any edits to the actual photos if you're using photos at this stage. And then you'd click next, and here is then where you would write your caption, and you can tag and add locations and add reminders in the same way. And then all you would do, once you're happy that they're in the right order, you've written your caption, you've done any hashtags, etc. that you want to do, you then just click share in the same way that you would an ordinary post. Now, what is quite new to Instagram carousels is they've now allowed you to actually delete any slides or any images or any videos from within the carousel. It used to be that if you wanted to change it or delete anything, you had to delete the whole lot, which was quite frustrating. So now you have the option, you can't add or change the order, but you can delete one of the images, and we'll talk about in a second why you might want to do that. But basically what you do if you need to delete an image or a video from within your carousel once it's gone live is you'll go up to the secret top 3 dots menu, and from there then you can click edit. And once you click edit, don't click delete because that deletes the whole lot. Once you click edit, then you can swipe through the photos as if you were viewing the carousel post normally. And when you get to the one that you want to delete, you'll see a little dustbin delete icon in the top left. And you can click on that, and then Instagram will say, oh, are you sure? Do you really want to delete this? And you go, yes, I really want to delete this. And then it will remove that from the carousel and you click done. If you suddenly regret your decision, it's not too late. You can restore photos that have been deleted from a carousel for up to 30 days. But you still can't add new photos. So if you've made a typo or a mistake on your image, you can't switch out. You're going to have to delete the whole thing and post again, which could be frustrating. You can delete individual images. And there are some reasons why you might want to delete an image. It might be that you've added a product that's now been sold, for example. So if it's Jan, she might be posting a series of photos in her painting series, and then actually one painting sold and it's no longer available. So she might want to delete that from the series because it saves people coming back disappointed because it's a one-off original that she can't recreate. It might be that there's an offer that you've had on that's now expired and you want to remove the offer from the carousel post but keep the rest of the post, particularly if it's had a lot of good engagement. It might be like with Sally or Matthew that you're at some kind of an event and now that's over, you want to delete that from the carousel because it's no longer relevant, but the other content is. So it depends on, there are some reasons why you may want to delete one later on. So why should we perhaps be using carousels? Now, carousel posts on Instagram at the moment are really good for boosting your visibility with your audience because each image, each slide, if you like, can come up in the home feed more than once. So it can give you more chance when people are scrolling through their feeds to get seen, because it might show it to you, might show you the first slide the first time or the first image the first time, and then later on it might show them the second image. So you've got greater chance with that terrible algorithm of actually being seen and getting some engagement and having eyeballs on your post. Also, they're really great for capturing people's attention span. And they like, it's another scrolly action. People sort of are inclined to scroll through and swipe through to see more. And the time that they are spending on your post by doing so indicates to Instagram, oh, someone's engaging with that post, they're spending longer on that post. And so it kind of wins you points with the Instagram algorithm and wins you big engagement points. And so it then will go on to show that post to more and more people. So it's kind of a win-win in that respect. And because of that, at the moment, they're getting really good engagement as well, because they're spending longer on it. They're more than likely to like the post or comment on the post. And I'm finding personally that they are the best posts, most successful posts for me at the moment. They get the most comments, they get the most engagement in terms of likes. So it's worth experimenting with them at the moment, particularly if your engagement is down. They do offer really good flexibility in terms of the type of content you can post, because you can use multiple photos or multiple videos in a single post. And we'll look at some examples on how you might be able to use them. I actually haven't yet, I think I'm posting my first one today, done a carousel with both video and images, but evidence and research seems to point that those that have both images and videos are even more successful. So I will have a little play with that and see if that is indeed the case. So, ways to use them. And I've got lots of different examples for you here. A really good one is for events, because you can do multiple photos and clips and showcase off the event, like New Forest Mark have done here, rather than having to post lots of different posts throughout the day and filling up your feed and not getting all the engagement. You can actually create a sequence of images to engage your followers. So that is the sort of, like with NFBP events or LinkedIn locals, that's really good to sort of stop you filling up your feed, but get a real feed for the event. And of course, you can tag people in all the different images. So when you're tagging the different businesses or the different accounts and collaborations within that, then again, they get a notification that they've been tagged, and it's all one post that then people will go and look at, which again helps with the engagement ranking. So that's really useful. As well, one that I use because of the nature of my business for carousel posts is tutorials, like how to. So that's another example of how you could use it. And I think, Jan, you could possibly make use of this in particular, maybe with some of your painting processes.
Yeah.
So the idea is then you can sort of give the steps in a process, like one tip per slide, and it's a really good, valuable information post for your followers. So that's a really good example. And then you can use it in different ways. It doesn't actually have to be like how to. So recipes. So we've got a lot of local producers around the New Forest in particular. So a tutorial could be as simple as step-by-steps in a recipe, and you can adapt it for drinks as well. So Matthew, you could think of using it for your gin bar, for example, and cocktail making and showing the different stages. So they can be really good because they can show the different steps, and then you can post the recipe or the steps underneath as well. So that's a different way of using it. Before and after are really good posts, and I guess, Jan, you could do this with your paintings, like the process, and Sally, you could do it even with some perhaps photo editing or different seasons, maybe you could show. So although it allows you to show up to 10 photos, it doesn't have to mean that you do the full 10. You can just post 2 pictures, and it'll allow you, like in this picture, to show massive sort of renovations, transformations. And it could be, you could use it for makeovers, you could use it for hairstyle changes, weight, all sorts. So that sort of post can be applied to many different businesses. And if you're worried about how perhaps it looks on your feed, you want the nice photo to show first, you could post that first. You could show the after photo first and then show the before. People are still going to scroll to have a look and have a nose at what it was like before. So if you're worried about how it then looks overall, you can still use that as your first shot. Of course, you can also use it to promote a product. So because you can use several photos or videos at once, you could actually show the different variations. So if you have different colors or different styles in the similar field, you could scroll through those, and then you can showcase all the different colors, because if one color doesn't appeal to one person, then the next color might. So it allows you to sort of display it in all its glory without overwhelming your followers with too many different posts. So like having to post the blue one first and then later on in the day posting the green one. So by using the Instagram carousel post, you can show your products in more detail, and if it's shoppable as well, you can then tag the individual photos. So if they like the blue one, then they can click on it and go straight to that product to purchase. So that can be really useful. Another good product use is zooming in. So you can sort of show the details and get closer in. So the first one can be further out, and then zooming in to bring much closer attention to a specific part of a photo. That could be really useful for different types of products or different elements of a painting or a photo that you kind of want to showcase. So that could be quite a clever use. Then you can also use it a bit like this or that. So to get engagement from your audience, you can say, do you prefer this one or do you prefer that one? And again, with both of you, you're using perhaps photos. Do they prefer this photo or do they prefer that photo, or do they prefer this painting as you're developing it or this style as you're developing it, so that you can kind of use that feedback. And I suppose with you, Matthew, you could perhaps use it for different beaches and locations where, like, which is your favorite? So there are different ways that you can use this particular post. Customer reviews, you can use them for, and you can use them to showcase lots of different reviews in one go. So a particular product or a particular painting or a particular photo or a particular book or a particular experience, like your tea room, afternoon teas, or a particular yacht experience. You could have lots of the same reviews for the same account and have people scroll through them so that they can see them. And again, if it's shoppable, you can link to the product. But because you've got lots, you're not having to post all the different reviews at different times. You're getting credibility because you're getting lots of reviews for that one product or that one service that you're offering. So that can be quite a useful way of doing it. And again, it sort of showcases the product if you're quite clever about how you do it, where you can have close-ups, you can just have the reviews over the top. So this is a really good example of how they've done that. And then depending on your business, you could use it to round up your user-generated content. So particularly, I guess this is perhaps more relevant to Matthew, where people have been to the hotel, or they've been to Brockenhurst and had a lovely time, or they've been on a escape yachting experience. And you can showcase, check obviously with any user generated content where people are tagging you, do check and ask them first, but then you can use their photos, different customers, and actually tag them back in the posts, so that they're getting exposure, they can comment on them, but you're also showing kind of a real experience or a real customer, and that gives kudos again then when other people are looking, gives kudos to your brand. It's not you saying how good you are, it's showing the different people's experience. So in this example, we've used obviously photos of people wearing products, but you can use it in different ways. It's how do you apply it to your business. And then behind the scenes is a really good one. Anyone can sort of do this. It could be your messy creative stages, it can be the equipment that you use, it could be the protein, obviously making your afternoon teas. People love to see the kind of inner workings of a business. They're always curious. We're nosy by nature. So how are your products made? What goes into a photo shoot? And what are your plans for the future? You can use a carousel post to sort of bring your audience behind the scenes or show how you develop something. And it can give your audience a look at the sort of creative process that you have, the development of your product. So with your book, for example, Sally, have you got any photos of the stages of you working on it and bringing it all together, and then have the book as the first image? And then this might apply mostly to Sally and possibly Matthew, but some outtakes are quite fun as well. So this is the perfect image, but this is also, you know, a showcase of what real life is like. It's not always perfect. You might have the perfect Instagram photo, but in the next couple of slides, you might have the outtakes. So that could be a really fun way of sort of showing a bit of personality about your business. And people love seeing the sort of real and raw pictures. And if you have those behind your first one, it perhaps doesn't affect your overall Instagram sort of aesthetic as well. And then you can sort of capture the moment. What's popular at the moment on Instagram is kind of like a photo dump, if you like. And it's kind of like the first photo is more on brand, if you like, but then it's kind of like a dump of behind the scenes, what my day's like, snapshots of what's going on, either in your life or in your business. So it can be a bit more casual. So it can be like little casual selfies or images of random bits of your day, just to sort of show people a bit more a sense of you and getting authentic about your business. It's a bit more unpolished, which is quite nice, and people are sort of hankering after a bit at the moment with the Instagram perfection. So it sort of makes it a bit more personal and allows your customers and your clients to connect with you in a more relatable way, really. And you could use that in different ways. You could do like a photo dump of like the month, behind the scenes of my business this month. It could be a recap of your day, or it could be showcase like the behind the scenes of an event or something after the event. So you can still get sort of length out of a big event that you've had to showcase that. This could be quite good for Sally and how she might apply some of her photos. So you can kind of tell a story. So while these are images, you could tell a story about something that you've been photographing, whether it's a particular animal or whether it's a particular season in an area that's developed over time. You could tell a story about that and sort of sharing the stages slide by slide. So although this is a cartoon, it could be photos, it could be videos, and it can be a personal story, it could be a business story, it could be the evolution of a business, or like I've said, it could be snapshots of a particular area and how that changes over time. So it's thinking about, well, how can I use it for my business and make it relevant to me? And then another way of using them, and this probably is very good for both Sally and Matthew, is creating a panorama. So you might have a lovely landscape image, and you can actually then use that to sort of swipe between them, so that although each individual photo sort of stands alone like this one here, the scrolling feature kind of shows the panoramic image that stretches across the whole carousel. So you put them side by side, and that can be a fun way to pique your followers' curiosity and encouraging active engagement with the post, and also allows you to show perhaps some of those longer, beautiful landscape shots that have interest in each section that perhaps you can't, you know, when you put them landscape in Instagram, you don't get that full face effect because you can see the next image on the feed down below and get distracted by it. It doesn't quite have that wow factor that it should do. So that can be really useful, and people use them in different ways. It's not just photos, like this example here, where they've kind of made it like a magazine and flipping through the magazine and used images to sort of show that. So you can get quite creative with it, and I'll show you some tools on how to make these, because I think some of you will find that quite useful in a bit. And then we can also look at now what your carousel posts, when you're creating them, needs to include to be effective. So the first thing that you need to consider is, obviously, you want this first image, or certainly the small amount of caption that you get underneath, to be scroll stopping, so that people stop and will start to go through the whole series. Your one goal at the start is to get people to stop and pay attention. So you want to consider the first image as kind of like your real estate, and it needs to be quite compelling to get people to swipe. So if it's photos and images, then you might want to use a really great photo in the first image to get people to scroll. For me, it might be that I have a headline that on my graphic that gets people to stop and want to read more. So you can use them in different ways, but you want to kind of get people to stop what they're doing and to swipe through the rest. So it can be a text headline hook, or it can be a gorgeous image. And then obviously you want to encourage people to swipe through. So you can either do that kind of with hints on the images, the graphics themselves with some arrows, or it could be actually in your text, in the caption, saying swipe through to see more. So you can encourage people to actually go through and see more. So whether it's a visual sign like an arrow on the graphic, or whether it's the text underneath in the caption encouraging you to go through more, having some kind of indicator to encourage them to take action is a good idea. And then it is useful to make sure that each image can stand alone. Like I said, when people are scrolling through, they might see the second image in the series or the third image in the series after they've seen the first one first in their feed. So if it doesn't stand alone in its sense and make sense, it's a bit odd. So it needs to, at the very least, be sort of scroll stopping intrigue, like what is that, for it to be able to create some action where they will go through the rest. So it's worth considering that if you're making a panoramic sort of slide of a landscape, is the middle one making sense by itself? Is it something that people will want to look at and stop that scroll? It's worth bearing in mind that each slide should have a kind of a cohesive look. So whether that's the same kind of graphics, or with the same fonts and colors, or whether if it's photos, you have the same sort of filters and styles on the photographs, so that you can, when you're looking through it, make sense as part of a series. And sometimes it helps if you know, to have a template to help do that. So I have got a template for you at the end as well. Each slide shouldn't have too much information on them. I'm not sure that's quite so relevant for you guys, but if I was making one with information on, I wouldn't want to add too much text. You want to let your content breathe. Don't use up too much text on each slide. Don't overwhelm people with too much on one image, because they're going to go through the others. Kind of spread it out across the images so that they are not feeling overwhelmed with the amount of information crammed into one element. Also, it's really important with any post that you make, and carousel posts are no different, add a call to action at the end. What do you want people to do? With a carousel post, that could actually be a graphic. So you could have, like this one here, encouraging them to bookmark it and come back to it for later. It could be that you add a graphic at the end that says, let me know in the comments what you think. So you can add a call to action actually on the carousel posts, but also in your caption as well, to encourage people to leave a comment, save, share, or like. So, or take some action in terms of, are they going to book? Are they going to buy? So you can use that. Don't forget to add it for full advantage. So I'm going to share with you a couple of tools that I think will be really useful to you for making carousels. The first one is something I use, and there are others in the App Store that are similar, but I use something called Grid Post app, and it looks like that in the App Store. And this is a little useful tool, particularly for like Panama, in this instance, creating those Panama photos. So if you've got a landscape photo, you can scroll through, it will break it into say 3 or 5 different sections so that you can use that to scroll through. So how it works is, if I've got a lovely landscape photo, what I would do is I would go to create grids, just go back a bit because this is quite fast. Go to create grids at the bottom when I open the app, and then I would choose Panama crop in this instance because that's what I'm wanting to do. And then I can select my photo. And so I selected a New Forest photo, and I've got it, I did size it in Canva first, which you don't necessarily need to do, where I did it so that it was the same height as one Instagram post, but then the length 3, so that made it easier for me, knowing that I could split this into 3. And then I uploaded it, and then I'm selecting here, for example, 3. I want 3 square images. And then what it does is, if you go done, so you can do more, but it doesn't make sense in this particular section. And now if you look at those individual images, they do actually stand out by themselves because of the detail that's in each photo. So you've got the different horses and the different sections, and then you would then go open those in Instagram, click on the first image, make sure that they're in order, hit your carousel post blue box here to be able to select the 3 images, and then select all 3, make sure that they're in order, and then you can see what it's going to look like. So you can see how every photo will sort of stand out by itself. And again, I can apply a filter if I want to at this stage and change it. And you would click next to then be able to go in and create your post. But you can kind of see how quite simply you can split and get that panoramic effect, which would be very good, I'm sure, for Sally and Matthew for their more stunning landscape photos that they want to showcase. I have made a template for you to add any information to graphics and sort of have a cohesive look. So I'll pop that in the links in a minute. I've used Canva, so you can just go in and change the images. So I gave it a New Forest feel because it kind of makes sense. So the first image looks like this, the second, the first one, so that's the second, then that's the third, and you can then see how you can add different photos, different elements and text as well to input your different ones. I've gone with a green color, but you're able to basically change all of those in Canva so that they're your brand colors, and you add your texts and so on. So I'll share that in the chat in a minute, but do we have any questions or queries about, because I've whisked through that. Did you have a question? Sorry, Jan. I know you said your internet's a bit dodgy. No? No questions?
Hang on. I'm sorry, I keep losing your voice.
Ah.
It keeps telling me my internet is unstable.
Unstable.
I don't think I have got any questions so far, but I think I've certainly learned an awful lot so far about carousels. Because
have I gone through anything too quickly? Do we want to look at anything again?
I don't think so, from a personal point of view. And I think the idea of you giving us a template to use for our first trial, if you like, is great. So thank you.
Sally, have you got anything you want to ask or?
Well, I'm just floundering around as always. I don't really know. Well, I mean, yes, I mean, I see the value of it all, and I've learned a few things, definitely, I've just written down that I wouldn't have thought of. But I haven't totally grasped the difference between carousels and reels.
Reels are videos. So
this is all for still pictures, is it?
Yeah, so you can use carousels with video.
Yeah, but that's what I thought, yes.
Yeah, particularly for you, you can now, you know, showcase some of your beautiful forest photos, you know, in one spot, which is nice and easy for you to do rather than spreading them out. So yeah, so reels are videos, very short videos in a portrait format, whereas carousels can be a combination of both, but typically people use them more so for images at the moment.
For stills images, yes. Yes. Oh, okay, now that helps a lot, because I didn't. We haven't done reels, have we?
I think we did it a while ago, but we haven't done it for a while.
Okay, then okay, no.
There might be, if you go into the New Forest Business Partnership, I'm sure there's probably a video on reels, isn't there, Matthew? If you go back into the members area.
It rings a bell, yeah.
Rings a bell.
I think we did an introduction.
Not sure I dare post something I've done. It could be a real bullet.
Reels are tricky.
And yes, but even carousels, you know, it could be everybody could have a real laugh. I think you'd have to practice first.
I think with your photos, they'd really suit carousels. I think you could definitely make the most of some of your photos, and you know, it's particularly from a certain area, that would be really good for you.
Yes, I can see that. Thank you.
Yours lends very nicely to carousels.
And the story behind the story is also it needs a lot of thought, because it can be very boring if you see it on films and things. You've got it's not, you know, you could undo some of the good you've done in other ways. So it needs a lot of thought. But the story behind stories, people do like that.
They do.
But it's going to be awfully good. Otherwise they could phase out, you know. So no, I have learned a few things that I hadn't even thought of.
I think sometimes it's thinking about how to use them as well, and different ways to use them, because we think, oh, we'll just put a couple of photos on, but actually there's a lot of different ways to utilize them and make the most of them. And they are working really well for people at the moment. People are getting much better engagement. So if you're struggling with getting eyeballs on your post or getting engagement on your post, it's worth trying a few carousel posts and seeing if that makes a difference.
Yeah, Well, I haven't done it for a bit, as you probably noticed, but I've been working on possibly doing another. I haven't got anything to sell at the moment. It's a nightmare. People want to buy and I've got nothing to sell because of lockdown and all of that. Well, people say, oh, how lovely, but it's not lovely because you feel bad if you haven't got anything.
Well, you'd like to be able to, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. Keep up the interest and all of that. So there is a possibility I could use this as one more thing to do, obviously, but use this as a interim thing while you're getting something else together.
Definitely.
That's what I was thinking. Could
build a bit of excitement.
Exactly. Keep people interested.
I popped a link in so that I can email, like you can put in your email and your name, and then the Canva template will come to you. So
where I popped a link in where?
In the chat.
Oh, right. And how do I pick up on chat? I often think about how do I get things out of chat?
So can you see chat on the?
Yeah, I've just clicked it now and I've got it down here.
Perfect. And then you should see me saying to everyone, and then there's a link. And if you click on that link, you should be able to put in your name and your email address.
Oh, I see. So, but then you go disappear and I can't get it.
That's fine. I can disappear for a minute.
No, but I meant at the end of the
It does go at the end, but you can save chat.
You can save the chat,
Can you? Okay.
In the bottom
so if
right,
bottom right, the 3 dots, the famous 3 dots on everything that hides all the useful information. Yes. And you can click save chat and then it will be there afterwards.
Can you do it for last week too?
don't know why they have to hide everything with those sneaky 3 dots.
Well, they're not used to people like me, are they? Okay, I've done that, and I'll get the link then. I'll click on it and get. Okay, thank you very much. Done that. Have
you got any questions, Matthew?
Oh, probably hundreds.
I know.
Can't focus on it.
Yeah, letting it sink in. Yeah. No, I'm sure it's the way, because I think the simple point is it's better than just having lots and lots of separate posts.
Yeah. Particularly like with events, or if you're trying to showcase one scenery or one trip, it's much easier to sort of put that together like a story, like Sally was saying.
Definitely.
Sort of showcasing that a bit more.
You keep people interested, can't you, between events and in my case books and exhibitions and things like that. And and you can
do throwback, Sally, don't forget, as well. So same goes with events, but you can do a throwback too.
I've never done that. Yes,
an exhibition. You can do remember when.
Yes, this was me 20 years ago.
Yeah, but people would love to see that.
Well, they all love the one of the Queen. None of me with the Queen.
Everyone get some mileage out of that again, especially during Jubilee.
Well, I know. Not just in the village hall. Here is your carousel template. Is that you've just sent that, have you?
Yeah.
Where is it now? Where is it?
It'll be in your email.
Okay. All right, thank you. Lots of ideas then, is that I've got to learn how to put it into effect, but I can see how they can. It's normal life, but applied with all of this, it's things you would have done anyway if you're in the olden days, but this is a much quicker way of doing it if you're a quick sort of person.
Practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to try. You can always delete it. You can use those 3 dots and delete it if you're not happy with it after posting it.
I've never learned how to even delete off Facebook, when something inappropriate comes out. But it is practice, absolutely. That's the important thing.
Yeah,
and I think that's I hadn't realised the difference between, as I say, reels and carousels.
Yeah,
it's obvious, really, but
well, no, it's not always obvious, is it? That's the thing.
Well,
if you don't know, you don't know.
Well, one's moving pictures and one's stills pictures.
Yeah, but I mean, carousels, like I said, can include video, so it can be confusing.
Yeah.
And also sometimes it's just the terminology, isn't it? Instagram is such a big platform now. It's a massive platform now. It's not, it used to be just posting square photos. It's so much bigger than that now.
Well, I know. I haven't even learned how to file all the pictures on my phone. You know, I'm one of those people that has to go through 7 years in order to find the picture I was about to show you.
I think people get into bad habits with that. I don't think you're all alone with that.
I don't know how you find out how you do it. So
have you got any more questions, Jan?
I don't think so. Oh, there's just one question about videos.
Yeah.
If you put a video into a carousel,
yeah,
you said it's got to be the right size.
So if you do square pictures and then add a video, the video also has to be cropped to square. Otherwise, the carousel won't work. So whatever format you start with, you have to use the same all the way through. So you can't mix it up. You can't do a landscape image and a square image. It's going to all be either all landscape
or all
portrait or all square. So if you're using video, you have to think about that.
And how, you know, like on your phone, on the video, is that, do you have a choice when you do the video? You have to edit it later.
You'll have to edit it later because it will film it either that way around, won't it? Or
it will, or that way around.
And if you're filming something that you know you want to crop to square, you need to be far enough away to be able to then crop it.
Right. So can I change it in InShot?
Yes, I think you can in InShot, but you can also do it in Canva. So you can upload an image, and then if you're doing squares, do your Instagram post on a square, and then upload your video to it and then crop it that way.
Oh, right. I've never done that in Canva.
Yeah, I can show you how quickly if you want, because we've got time.
Doing Canva next week, aren't we?
So let me find Canva. Hang on. So let me close this and come in to, right, let me bring it over. So can we see Canva?
Yeah.
Cool. So all I've done, in fact, I've gone in and I've chosen Instagram post. Like so I get a nice square post. So if I'm doing all square images, and then in my uploads, you can upload images, but you can also upload videos, and you can also upload audio. So I probably have got, so let's just pick something that needs cropping. So this terrible
hashtags make it easier for you
of me. But if I wanted now to try and make that, just about works, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
So then I've got my square, and I guess if it didn't quite fit, so we got the video,
and here are some hashtags,
and that would still work. So I could make a carousel with that in squares and have the different steps.
Right.
And then all I would do is I'd download it as a video, and it would download it as square. But if it didn't quite fit for any reason, what you could do is put it in some kind of frame, couldn't you, if you really had to?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I don't know, what's this one here that I did? That's probably the Justin Timberlake from the hashtag one. But you could, so that it still shows it landscape.
Yeah, but it fits in that.
But it fits into the square. So you're sort of making it work, if you like, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you could, if you wanted to, you know, then add some text up all down below, or perhaps your logo or something, so it's not quite, you know, so stark if you wanted to make more of that real estate. But yeah, that would then work. And again, you download it in the same way, and it would still be a square video then.
Okay, yeah.
So that works in that respect.
Okay, brilliant. I must say, I haven't really explored Canva, even though I've got the Pro.
And like I said, if you want, so if I do a quick demo of how you would do that landscape as well while I'm in here. So if you want, you know, I did the 3. So it requires a bit of maths.
You're giving away all your secrets. You're giving away all your secrets for next month.
Yeah. So if we think about an Instagram post being 1080 by 1080, so it's 1080 pixels by 1080, and that makes it square, you can then create a design that is custom size if you've got the Pro, and we know the height is going to be 1080. And if you want to split it into 3, then you need, in my head, a calculator that goes, okay, so 1080 times 3 gives me 3240.
Yeah.
And then it gives me my landscape size. And so this is good for the like Matthew and Sally here. If you've then got a photo, so if I put in, I don't know, your Carousel you go to, don't you? I'm trying to think. So, and now I can download that, and then I can split that into 3 using my grid tool that I've got on my phone.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you just need to check then that every individual photo kind of makes sense. So
yes, that
where
each
this
squares makes.
That's it. So you can kind of see, I mean, you can put some lines in. I don't know if you knew this, if you've got your rulers on, a bit like Photoshop for those Photoshop people, you can bring guides in. She says she can't do it at like 1080, so you get a rough idea, look, 1080 where that's going to go. Ooh, can't quite get it, but you get a rough idea then of how that's going to split, so you can change it if you think you need to sort of make it more interesting and get that rule of thirds going on for each one. I can't think off the top of my head what. But you get the idea, and then you can sort of see where that's roughly going to split.
I do,
And then you can do it with, you know, any landscape sort of photo that you've got, and you can see then how that's going to look really nice on different ones. And again, just, I mean, these are just stock photos obviously, but you can then line it up and get it how you want to add that kind of wow factor. Well, hopefully we finished a bit earlier than normal, but hopefully that has given you plenty of ideas and some tips to
have a go.
Definitely. My